Hello and welcome to our special live streaming series, COVID-19 Frontline on CGT, and I'm Zhou Yun. COVID-19 Frontline, the special live streaming series for experts from China and around the world to share their thoughts and experiences on the fighting and containing of COVID-19. And apart from expert discussions, we also take questions and comments from our followers on various social platforms such as CGT, as well as CGT, an official account on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and we do post that. Welcome to our special live streaming series, COVID-19 Frontline on CGT, and I'm Zhou Yun. I'm very sorry that we had a technical problem just now, and now we're back to on track. So today we are going to have the COVID-19 Frontline, which is the online platform for medical experts from China around the world to share their expertise as well as experiences in fighting and containing COVID-19. And in addition to expert discussions, we also take questions from our followers on various social platforms such as CGT app, official website, CGT official account on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Sina Weibo. So feel free to join us. And when you do leave your comments and questions, remember to use the hashtag of my opinion on COVID-19. We look forward to your participation. And today, we had a very special array of guests from China and Thailand. And as we know, this year marks the 40th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic ties between China and Thailand. And in those past over 4 decades, both countries has not only established a very strong, comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership, but I'm back, and we're sorry for the technical problem. And now it is my great honor to introduce guests from the Chinese side. And the majority of the doctors here from China have the frontline experience in fighting the pandemic in Wuhan, and also every one of them has the firsthand information of treating patients with COVID-19. And now it is my great honor to introduce all of them to you. So today we have Professor Cao Bin, who's the respiratory and critical care expert, and also Vice President of China-Japan Friendship Hospital. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Cao. And also, we have Professor Guo Liping, who's the Deputy Director of the Center for Disease Control at the China-Japan Friendship Hospital. And also, we have Dr. Duan Jun, who's the Vice Director of the Department of Surgical Critical Care Medicine and the China-Japan Friendship Hospital. And also, Dr. Xia Jinggen, who's the Respiratory Therapist at Department of Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine and China-Japan Friendship Hospital. We also have Dr. Zhang Yi, who's the Attending Physician at Department of Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine and China-Japan Friendship Hospital. Last but not least, we also have Dr. Wang Yimin, who's the Attending Physician at the Department of Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine at the China-Japan Friendship Hospital. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And now we also have my colleague Liao Li standing by in Thailand with a number of distinguished guests from Thailand. So now, Liao Li, the floor is yours.
I'm now at the MCOT studio. CMG and MCOT have been working closely on reporting the news of COVID-19. Next to me is MCOT host and also our good friend, Ms. Wachalin.
Thank you, Ms. Low, and I would like to send my warmest regard to everyone in PRC. I'm so proud to witness today's special event, COVID-19 teleconference Frontline, which is its name is COVID-19 Frontline. As we know that in the past time until now, Thailand and China has a very deep and close relationship and cooperation. But today's special event is yet another significant symbol to show the strong bonds between Thailand and China. And today we have a 7-member of medical expert of Thailand, which I would like to introduce. The first is Professor Dr. Prasit Wattanapa, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Sri Raj Hospital, Mahidol University. Thank you very much for joining us. And the second is Professor Emeritus Amon Lira Rasami, President of the Medical Association of Thailand, Division of Infectious Diseases and Tropical Medicine, Department of Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, Sri Raj Hospital, Mahidol University. Thank you. And the third one, the lady one, Professor Kunkanya Chokpaibunkit, the Director of the Division of Infectious Diseases, Department of Pediatrics, Faculty of Medicine, Sri Raj Hospital, Mahidol University. And the first one is Associate Professor Chanchai Sittipan from the Division of Pulmonary and Pulmonary Critical Care, Department of the Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, King Chulalongkorn Memorial Hospital, Chulalongkorn University. And the fifth, Assistant Professor Prakan Thomyangkoon, Senior Advisor from the Department of Medical Services, Ministry of Public Health. The sixth, Air Vice Marshal Dr. Ithapon Kanajaran, the Deputy Secretary General from Thai Medical Council. The seventh, Dr. Visit Prasit Sirikun, Senior Expert from Preventive Medicine Department of Disease Control. And the last but not least, she is the interpreter, Dr. Hong Prasan Thanakorn. Thank you very much for joining us today.
And if you have chance, welcome to China and welcome to CMG.
Okay, and the next one, we have key speakers who will send them best regard and keynote speech. Please observe together.
主持人好，观众朋友们好，感谢中央广播电视总台和泰国 MCOT 联合举办全球疫情会诊事件，为中泰两国医学专家搭建交流平台，共享防疫抗疫经验。面对新冠肺炎疫情挑战，中泰两国和两国人民守望相助，携手并肩，唱响了共同战役的赞歌。我们不会忘记，在中国疫情最吃紧的时候，泰国王室、政府和社会各界给予了坚定的支持和宝贵的物资援助。巴育总理和众多泰国朋友都录制了为中国加油的视频，让我们深受感动。双方医疗技术团队也迅速对接，及时分享了疫情信息、研商诊疗方案。随着泰国疫情发展，中国政府、中国大使馆、地方政府、公益机构、中资企业和友好组织都纷纷行动起来，通过不同渠道向泰方捐赠 N95 口罩等急需的医疗抗疫物资，生动诠释了中泰一家亲、患难见真情的特殊友谊。我们高兴地看到，在泰国政府有力领导下，近日泰国新增确诊病例数量持续下降。作为泰国的好朋友、好伙伴，我们为泰方取得的阶段性成果感到高兴和振奋。今天，中泰两国专家通过视频连线分享防控经验，交流诊疗方案，是中方开展国际抗疫合作、践行人类命运共同体理念的具体举措。相信中国专家带来的中国经验和方案，将为泰方抗疫提供有益的借鉴。风雨过后是彩虹，我坚信，只要中泰两国精诚团结、密切合作，就一定能够早日战胜疫情。相信中泰关系历经疫情的洗礼，将迎来更加美好的明天。泰国加油，中国加油！
โครงการนี้ถือว่าเป็นประโยชน์อย่างยิ่งต่อประเทศไทยเพราะว่าเราจะได้เรียนรู้จากประเทศที่เขามีประสบการณ์มาก่อนคือประเทศจีนซึ่งอุบัติเหตุที่เกิดขึ้นครั้งแรกของโรคโควิด -19 เนี่ยเกิดขึ้นในประเทศจีนก่อนที่เมืองอู่ฮั่นแล้วก็จีนได้แก้ปัญหาด้วยตัวเองนะครับโดยไม่มีตัวอย่างเรียนรู้จนกระทั่งประสบความสำเร็จสามารถทำให้จำนวนโรคลดความรุนแรงลงไปเพราะนั้นความสำเร็จดังกล่าวนี้สามารถที่ศึกษาเรียนรู้สำหรับประเทศอื่นโดยเฉพาะประเทศไทยได้ไทยก็ได้ชื่อว่าเป็นประเทศที่มีบุคลากรสายสาธารณสุขแพทย์พยาบาลเภสัชกรและเจ้าหน้าที่ด้านวิทยาศาสตร์สาธารณสุขมีศักยภาพสูงนะผมเรียนว่าคนเรียนเก่งที่สุดในเมืองไทยเนี่ยก็เรียนแพทย์เพราะนั้นบุคลากรสายนี้ของเราเนี่ยเขาจะเก่งมาตลอดแต่การที่เราเพิ่งมีประสบการณ์เรียนรู้จากโควิด -19 เนี่ยเป็นครั้งแรกเพราะนั้นถึงจะเก่งยังไงเนี่ยเราก็ต้องศึกษาจากคนที่ก็มีประสบการณ์มาก่อนผมยังถือว่าโครงการนี้จะเป็นประโยชน์อย่างยิ่งต่อทั้งสองฝ่ายโดยเฉพาะประเทศไทยครับผมก็ขอแสดงความขอบคุณและชื่นชมที่ประเทศจีนได้ให้ความช่วยเหลือประเทศไทยนะแม้กระทั่งผมเองซึ่งเป็นประธานรัฐสภาเนี่ยผมได้รับหน้ากากจากสถานทูตจีน 10,000 ชิ้นนะครับซึ่งได้นำไปแจกจ่ายให้กับโรงพยาบาลและสถาบันด้านสาธารณสุขต่างๆได้ใช้ประโยชน์อันนี้ต้องขอขอบคุณเป็นส่วนตัวด้วยครับและผมคิดว่าการร่วมมือนะสื่อทั้งสองประเทศเนี่ยจะเป็นการเผยแพร่ความรู้เรื่องใหญ่ที่สุดของโรคเหล่านี้คือการให้ประชาชนมีความรู้และประชาชนได้ป้องกันตัวเองลำพังรัฐบาลหรือบุคลากรนั้นไม่มีวันที่จะเพียงพอสำหรับดูแลคนไทยตั้ง70 ล้านเนี่ยไม่สามารถดูแลได้ทั่วถึงนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นการที่เราสามารถมีสื่อขยายความรู้ไปให้ประชาชนได้รับทราบเพื่อมีวิธีการป้องกันตัวเองนั้นถือว่าเป็นการรักษาที่ดีที่สุดครับคือการป้องกันตัวเองครับครับผมขอเป็นกำลังใจให้กับบุคลากรทุกฝ่ายไม่ว่าแพทย์พยาบาลเภสัชกรนักวิทยาศาสตร์และอื่นๆรวมทั้งเจ้าหน้าที่ฝ่ายปกครองตำรวจซึ่งคอยดูแลเพื่อควบคุมเรื่องนี้ไม่ให้โรคนี้ระบาดไปไกลนะครับนั้นขอแสดงความชื่นชมยินดีและให้กำลังใจทุกคนและหลังจากที่เหตุการณ์เรียบร้อยวันนี้เรียบร้อยแล้ว พี่น้องชาวจีนที่ตั้งใจจะมาเมืองไทยก็คงจะมาเหมือนเดิมและพี่น้องชาวจีนคือนักท่องเที่ยวที่มาประเทศไทยมากที่สุดครับก็รอต้อนรับพี่น้องทั้งหลายในโอกาสต่อไปครับ
สวัสดีครับผู้ชมและพี่น้องระหว่างไทยจีนที่เคารพรักทุกท่านนะในโอกาสที่ CMG ของสหรัฐประชาชนจีนนะครับ MCOT ของประเทศไทยเราได้มีความร่วมมือกันในการร่วมกันรายงานข่าวร่วมกันในการวิเคราะห์ร่วมกันในการแลกเปลี่ยนข่าวสารในการต่อสู้เอาชนะโควิด -19 ในครั้งนี้นับว่าเป็นข่าวที่ดีมากเป็นความร่วมมือที่ยอดเยี่ยมเป็นความสัมพันธ์ระหว่างประเทศในยามวิกฤตที่เราจะต้องปรบมือให้ความร่วมมือของ CMG กับ MCOT ครั้งนี้จะนำไปซึ่งประโยชน์ต่อการต่อสู้เอาชนะโควิด -19 ในสถานการณ์วิกฤตเช่นนี้และได้มีการแลกเปลี่ยนประสบการณ์อันนี้ถือว่าสำคัญมากครับการที่CMG และ MCOT ได้เชิญผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางการแพทย์ของจีนที่มีประสบการณ์ในการทำงานท่ามกลางวิกฤตที่ประเทศจีนโดยเฉพาะนครอู่ฮั่นและอีกหลายๆเมืองในประเทศจีนจนประสบความสำเร็จและได้นำมาแลกเปลี่ยนเผยแพร่ประสบการณ์ในการชนะโควิด -19 ของสหรัฐประชาชนจีนมายังประเทศไทยและคนทั่วโลกนับว่าเป็นกุศลเป็นคุณูปการเป็นประโยชน์อย่างยิ่งต่อมวลมนุษยชาติในการที่จะอยู่ร่วมกันและในการร่วมมือกันในการต่อสู้กับภัยพิบัติโรคร้ายต่างๆโดยเฉพาะโรคไวรัสโควิด -19 ในครั้งนี้ผมก็ต้องขอชื่นชมต่อความสำเร็จของประเทศจีนที่รัฐบาลจีนพรรคคอมมิวนิสต์จีนท่านผู้นำจีนท่านประธานาธิบดีสีจิ้นผิงและคณะโดยเฉพาะมวลแพทย์เหล่าบุคลากรทางการแพทย์ของจีนในแพทย์บุคคลต่างๆที่เกี่ยวข้องได้ทั้งกองทัพปลดแอกประชาชนจีนและประชาชนคนจีนทั้งประเทศได้ร่วมกันเป็นน้ำหนึ่งใจเดียวเป็นเอกภาพที่สุดในประวัติศาสตร์ของประชาชาติจีนที่ผ่านมาและสามารถนำชัยชนะในการต่อสู้กับไวรัสโควิด -19 ครั้งนี้จนปราบไวรัสทั่วประเทศจีนได้อย่างราบคาบได้รับชัยชนะในเวลาอันรวดเร็วมีประสิทธิภาพนำมาซึ่งขวัญกำลังใจไม่เฉพาะประชาชนคนจีนมายังประชาชนคนทั่วโลก
So thank you so much for the support and the message sent by those senior officials from China and also Thailand. A big thank you to our colleagues in MCOT. And now I would like to invite Professor Wattanapa to deliver a few remarks. So, Professor, please.
First of all, I would like to thank our Chinese colleague who helped us to provide this joint teleconference regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. I do believe your experience in China will help us to deal with this COVID-19 in a better way. And not only Thailand will get benefit from this conference, but I do believe everyone who observed this teleconference will also learn some experience from our two countries. And the section will be something like we introduce some questions and would love to have the response from the China. But first of all, I would like to ask my colleague, Professor Amon Leelalasmi, to present you the situation of COVID-19 in Thailand, and then will be followed by some questions. Professor Amon, please.
Thank you, Chairman. 下午好。 I would just like to briefly describe the COVID-19 situation in Thailand. So can I have the first slide? This is the official information we have from the government yesterday. As you can see, on the 22nd of April, we have a total infected cases, 2,000 and about 800. And yesterday, we have only 15 cases. And the total days is now 49 cases. For those who are coming from abroad, infections found in 71 cases. Yesterday, we found no new infected cases from abroad. And the total cumulative under PUI, persons under investigation is around 44,000 cases. And yesterday, about 120. And you see on the other side is the screening from the airport, seaport, country borders, and from the Immigration Bureau. We have screened quite a lot more than millions of persons. Can I have the next slide? The next slide, this is a graph show the infected cases report by each day. You will notice that in the early March, we had just a few infected cases, less than 10 is about, let's say, 11, 5 or 7 cases. But you will notice that in the mid of March, we start to have new cases to up to 36, 33, which this is a signal for academics, for many prominent leaders in our country to voice very strongly to the government that we have to impose a very strong, what we call enforcement of community quarantine and physical distancing, and also to keep travelers from abroad, where they travel from epidemic countries, to be quarantined for 14 days. As you can see that the number of new cases in the late March spiked up to more than 100 cases. And this time, the government had already imposed really strong control measurements, although to close school, university, and to avoid or ask the people to avoid all non-essential mass gathering. And you can see in the next slide, after we have imposed a very good control, implement all those quarantine and social distancing, the new cases report going down. Just yesterday to only 15, I think, if I can say it right. So I think we are going to a right way to control the spread of COVID-19. Next slide. This is just a graph of a total confirmed infected cases. The green line just shows the total number of cumulative cases now to more than 2,800 cases. The red line with dot is the daily active case report, which is now going down. As you can see that we do have a very good control of the spread of COVID-19. And the next slide is just to show you that the infected cases spread to almost every province in Thailand, especially in Bangkok, in the southern part of Thailand. So this is the latest information from the governments, and I think this is a very reliable source of COVID-19 situation in Thailand. So this is a big situation that I would like to convey to our Chinese doctors. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your introduction. And now let's turn to Dr. Duan Jun, who will be on behalf of China-Japan Friendship Hospital to give us a brief introduction about some of the experience that they had at the frontline Wuhan in fighting the pandemic. So yes, Doctor, please go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank the invitation of Thailand and very grateful for 3 months hard work under the leadership of Dr. Cao Bin and Dr. Zhang Qingyuan. So I will give a shortly and briefly introduce of our experience in Wuhan. So our ward is a newly established ward for COVID-19 in Wuhan Tongji Hospital. So we have 6 ICU beds and 44 beds for severe cases. So we started at February the 4th. So we have 100 COVID-19 patients together. We died. There are 4 patients died, and we have all the patients succeeded to survive. So we have isolated rooms to avoid cross-infection. We think there are three factors, very important factors, in hands-on so many patients. The first is environment and equipment. So we have many rooms and monitors for the patient vital sign and organ function to monitor. And we have ECMO, high flow ventilator, and nasal carrier to life support. And we have to make the patient to CVC and PICC in section. So we have another equipment for tested ABG, broadcaster, and ultrasound ECG, and so on. This is a device. All the devices are brought from China-Japan Friendship Hospital in Beijing. Some are donated by manufacturers in this emergency. So the important equipment we wanted to show is a critical care ultrasound. He can give the patient the diagnosis for the substitution for CT, and the second, he can screen for the patient to predict which patient is most severe or most critical care. And the third is a point of care ultrasound. And the last is a whole body ultrasound to make the patient management. So we have the experience team member or colleague. So we have 1 team leader, 4 coordinators. There are 30 doctors, including attending, fellows, and residents. Most of them from Department of Internal Medicine. And very important is PCCM. PCCM including 3 attendants and 6 fellows. So we also have almost nearly 100 nurses, including 17 nurses from ICU. And we also have 1 RT and 1 specialist for infection control. The team is very experienced with ECMO. We have detailed doctor and nurse shift, day and night shift, to make sure they have enough energy to fight the COVID-19. And the last is the standard procedure. The procedure is the most important and critical care to save lives during pandemic and emergency, including CPR, including CVC insection, including ECMO checklist, and so on. So this is we will prepare for the important device to handle to avoid delay. And we have the experienced team and the SOP to make sure the safety of the patient. And all the procedure, all the camera and PCD and intubation, we all have the standard procedure to make sure the safety of the patient. And what the patient received, the respiratory support, especially more than high flow and non-invasive and invasive patient. So we give the patient the vital sign, including SpO2 and ABG. And we also give the patient the respiratory support level. And we want to emphasize the patient respiratory rate is useful to evaluate the patient compensatory ability. So we can take this measure to treatment. We don't know what drugs is most useful for anti-SARS-CoV-19. So maybe Dr. Cao Bin give our more information. So glucocorticoids is also useful for the patient treatment, and the patient ARDS is not very typically from the normal ARDS. And the infection control is most important for the epidemic. So mental care for both the patient and the doctor is also important for all the patients and all the doctors who attended the battle. So this is our team experience for against the COVID-19. So thanks for your listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duan, for sharing with us your experience and expertise in fighting at the front line of COVID-19 in Wuhan. Just to say a few more words, actually, Professor Cao Bin was among the very first leading medical experts assigned to Wuhan during the battle, and he and his team has not only treated numerous patients with COVID-19, they have also published 3 papers on Lancet. So for our Thailand experts, if you have any questions about this disease, you can also find those papers on Lancet. So now I would like to give the floor to the experts here in Thailand. So feel free. Now the floor is open. So feel free to ask the question that you have, please.
Thank you. So I list the first questions about the mutations of SARS-CoV-2. As you heard, and I think there's a lot of information on social media that talk on about the mutations of SARS-CoV virus, many mutants, and as far as I get the information from the social media, they said there are at least 8 strains of SARS-CoV-2 virus, and the mutation may be accountable for a higher death rate in patients with COVID-19 in some European countries. So the question from us is there is a many mutation from this virus. Does they behave differently or similarly on the clinical presentations? Whether they set up a very progressive clinical course, had a higher organ damage, cause more death, or resistant to the current antivirals that we use right now. So I would like to learn from you on this, the mutations of SARS-CoV virus. So please, if you have any information or any evidence to show us.
So Professor Cao, who do you think should answer this question?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for both China and Thailand to have a face-to-face meeting, although through the internet. I appreciate the kind words from the Prime Minister of Thailand, and it is the first time, yes, we learn in detail of the situation in Thailand and your achievement during the last 2 months, and I also appreciate the great effort of my colleagues, yes, fighting against the COVID-19, both in Wuhan city and in Beijing city. Yeah, for the first question is about the virus mutation. Yeah, because that it is not so long that we realize is a novel coronavirus. This novel coronavirus can cause both mild illness and the fetal pneumonia complicated with sepsis, ARDS. But the good news is that from the work of Chinese virologists, and there's no clue of a virus mutation. So so another good news is that there are at least 2 scientific teams are working on the program of vaccine. So I also know that the scientists in America and in Europe, they are also hiring on the development of vaccine because we all understand that vaccination it will be a protective, effective protection for humans, not only in Asian countries, but also in European countries and also in North America. So I don't think it's a concern about the viral mutation, and I think you are right that I agree with you that we have to monitor in dynamic mode, yes, to say whether there's any kind of mutation of the virus, both in the virus transmission and the pathogenic effects of a virus. So I have the same puzzle as you have, that it seems that in Asian countries the situation is not so bad as we have learned, yes, from European countries such as Italy, Germany, Spain, and also in America. I have no idea about this. There are some hypotheses that maybe is due to the climate, because the countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, yes, you are living in the warm areas. I don't know. There's no answer, yes, to the hypothesis, but I know that some Thai scientists are interested in the association of the viral transmission in different time zone, in different temperature conditions. I also think that the scientists in Thailand may have some research on the transmission of the disease in different areas, in hot area, in warm area, or some and as comparison with other countries. I think it's an interesting issue. Yes, what's your comments about it?
So yes, Professor.
Thank you. So would you think the mutations of the virus would be a great concern for vaccine production? I know I learned from the media that China has already produced a vaccine, and if there are a lot of many strains of SARS-CoV-2, we wonder if the vaccine produced in one country would be applied to other countries like Thailand. So would you elaborate a little bit on this?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Coronavirus is very different from influenza virus. Yes, we learned the story of virus mutation of influenza, both influenza A and influenza, especially influenza A, not influenza B. But the coronavirus is a different story. And when nowadays that when the scientist is working on the vaccine of the SARS coronavirus 2, they are not using the whole virus as an antigen. It seems that the scientists have the advanced technology to use the technique to develop a vaccine. I think they are focusing on the most effective antigenic zone, especially the receptor binding domain. For receptor binding domain, there is a very highly conservative So I don't think the mutation of the virus is a barrier to the development of the vaccine. There are some other technical barriers, such as the antigenic response, such as the antibody dependent enhance of the immune response. These are the concern of the development of vaccine, but not the viral mutation. Over.
So I think Professor Chanchai would like to have. Hello. I have a question about the risk factors, because in Thailand, sometimes we see the patient who have very mild symptoms and progress to ARDS or severe distress in just a few days. My question is, the first one, do you have any predictive factors for the patient that might develop progressive disease? And secondly, do you have any intervention that you think that can stop progression from mild going to the severe cases?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important question. Yeah, I know that there are different findings from different researchers in different countries. I think my colleague, Dr. Zhang Yi, can you give some answers and followed by other my colleagues, please, Dr. Zhang Yi.
Some different phenotypes in about COVID-19 in different countries, but there's no enough information out to support this point. We didn't find a different cause of the disease or rate of ARDS in different countries, such as in China, Italy, or US. So I think maybe the source of medical staff and other reasons can explain why there's a phenotype in different countries. If there are enough medicine staffs, can admit the patients as early as possible. Maybe some mild or modified patients couldn't develop to severe or clinical ill states. So this may be a reason, the most important reason. I think the data or information proved that their phenotype are different in these countries over.
Okay, Da Ming, can you put more comments on the question? I think
we have the translator ready, so if you want to speak Chinese, you can also speak Chinese. 因为我们的现在同传已经介入了，所以如果各位老师想用中文表达的更精确的时候，也可以用中文。Yes, please, Professor Cao, please go ahead.
Okay, Da Ming. Yes, it seems that the elderly age is one of the risk. So, what do you think about it, about risk from development to severe illness? Yiming.
I have another question about early prone.
Sorry, 1 second. We have another doctor from China who's going to add on that. So, Dr. Wang, you need to turn on. 您要把声音打开. You need to turn on the audio before you talk. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
其实我们认识到的新冠肺炎的这样的重症的病例，它的危险因素其实会关心像我们看到的年龄，确实年龄比较大的患者相对是重症一些。另外，我们在早期关注到的像凝血功能的异常，特别是第二具体的异常的升高，这可能是我们会关注到的点。另外，我们也发现很多病人在危重症的病人当中会发现SOFA评分是一个很重要的一个评估严重程度的和危险因素的这样的一个指标，这可能是我们可以去关注的一些地方。
Okay, translator, please.
I think, can you hear me? So I think there are several different risk factors we should focus on. For example, the first risk factor I want to talk about is the patient's age. We all know the older the patient is, the more risk the patient is going to be. The second risk factor is about several different indicators, including the elevated D-dimers and other different indicators about the hemoglobins and so for all the blood functions. The third risk factor we should think about is SOFA scoring system. That is also quite important and we should look at for the early stage patient. Thank you.
Yes, we can have more questions from Thailand. Please go ahead.
Yes, please, Dr. Bakan. Yeah. Yes, I would like to learn from your experience. What is the most suitable medication for COVID-19 patient with ARDS, please?
Translator, please. Can you repeat your question, Professor?
What is the most suitable medication for COVID-19 patient with ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome, please?
Okay, yeah, I understand. My colleague Zhang Yi and Xia Jinggen can answer the question. Zhang Yi.
Translator, please. Translate the question, please.
您好，我的问题是对于急性上呼吸道炎症的急性上呼吸道窘迫综合症的一些什么是最好的一些疗法？谢谢。
不对，就稍等，他的这个翻译不准确。他的问题呢，泰方的问题呢是这个重症的这个 COVID-19 伴有 ARDS， 它的最佳的治疗方案是什么？那个张毅，你先来回答这个问题。
我用中文吧，那我们会理解的好一点。其实，我觉得先说相同点，仍然是 ARDS， 所以在插管的时机以及呼吸支持的方式上，我想应该仍然遵循传统的 ARDS 的这个治疗。这些经验呢，我们是来自于甲流以及其他一些呼吸道病毒性肺炎的一些治疗。因此呢，在适当的 PEEP 以及插管的时机，还有人工肺这些呢，都是推荐的。需要您可以先翻译。
So thank you very much for your question. I think COVID-19 have a lot of symptoms similar to ARDS. So that is the reason why we are adopting the similar procedures to support the patient, including the intubations and the ECMOs. And I think the COVID-19 is showing several just as we are using the measures to support the patient under the influenza A, among other different diseases, the COVID-19 is showing a lot of symptoms similar and to the ARDS, and we believe that it belongs to the category of ARDS.
But another side, there's some difference between COVID-19 and influenza A called ARDS. 就是下面呢，我会说一下有什么不同。我觉得在甲流引起的 ARDS 里，我们可以看到很明显的重力依赖区的病变，但是在 COVID-19 呢，我们可以看到这样的一些病变呢，并不完全遵循于传统的甲流，所以呢，我们在实际的操作当中呢，会发现它对于较高的 PEEP 以及肺复张这些疗法呢，可能反应会稍差，但是这些差别呢，并不影响我们仍然遵循传统的 ARDS 的呼吸支持的模式。
So let me talk about the difference between COVID-19 among the traditional ARDS, including the influenza A. I believe the lesions at the late stage is quite different compared with the traditional influenza A. And that's the reason why we are going to, but it does not influence the measures that we are going to take against COVID-19. We are still going to adopt the PEEP among other different measures to support the COVID-19. So in terms of the treatment, we consider it as a type of the ARDS.
So any more comments from Xia Jinggen, please?
夏医生，您把音频打开一下，谢谢。
可以了。在这些病人在 ARDS 的时候，很多病人低氧是很突出的，所以呼吸支持技术肯定是对于这类合并 ARDS 的病人来说是很常用的这样的。但是呼吸支持技术里面这个无创的正压通气，无创呼吸支持技术应该是我觉得可能会用的会更多一点。 我们做了一些简单的一个统计，关于高流量氧疗在这类病人当中的应用，大概有60%的病人对于轻中度的 ARDS 病人来说，它是可以避免气管插管的。
So let me talk about the different oxygen therapies between the ARDS and COVID-19. For the general ARDS patient, we believe the low oxygen level helps them a lot, and we actually adopted the non-invasive measures to support this patient. And for the COVID-19 patient, I believe that if we look at all of these mild cases, even the ordinary cases and to the severe cases, we believe that 60% of these cases can be addressed by the high flow oxygen support. That is our statistical result.
OK， 第二类就是高流量是我们一般首选的。如果高流量这个用上去之后，病人的氧合没有改善，我们会给他尝试用无创这个镇压通气。但无创镇压通气里面发现 CPAP 这种方式比那个 ST 这个方式相比较而言的话 ，CPAP 患者的耐受性呢要明显的要稍微更好一点。然后呢，还有一点很重要的就是，如果这些传统的无创呼吸支持方式不能够改善的话，早期的气管插管是非常很重要的。这个时候早期的插管对于肺来说就是一个很好的一个保护，因为你可以使用小的潮气量，你可以对病人进行一个评估，那么这样的话对于病人的抢救来说是非常重要的。
And for our treatment, at the early stage, we are going to choose the high flow oxygen treatment as our priority. And if it doesn't work, we are going to use the non-invasive measures. And in the usage of the non-invasive measures, we believe that CPAP is better than the SP treatment because it has a better performance. And if the non-invasive measure is not effective, we suggested to use the intubation at an early stage because we believe that once we are putting the intubation on the patient, it started to protect the lungs of the patient, and it is also quite easy for the doctors to evaluate the situation of the patient.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank
Professor Kunkanya.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to exchange. I'd like to ask you about what's your strategy of the antiviral treatment? Do you use antiviral treatment in the mild case or only those with pneumonia? And can you share with us what's the antiviral regimens that you use in general? Do you segregate between the ones with mild or the one with more severe? Do you use many antivirals in the same time or just single drug?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Yes, I think it is a priority for the treatment of one kind of infectious disease, and the infectious disease is caused by virus. From the very early beginning, at the end of the December of 2019, when I first look at the first cohort of cases, yes, I work with the local physician in Wuhan. Yes, we have the impression that it is one kind of viral pneumonia disease. At that time, we have no idea about the causative pathogen. As soon as we got know that the disease is caused by a new coronavirus, yes, we at first we went back to the treatment choices for other kinds of coronavirus, SARS coronavirus and MERS coronavirus. And when we look at the literature, we find that SARS named lopinavir, ritonavir is widely used. This drug was used to treat SARS patients as early as 2003 and 2004. And although there's no randomized control trials, the clinical data of lopinavir, ritonavir is encouraging. This evidence gives us confidence that maybe we can start lopinavir, ritonavir to the treatment of COVID-19. And we also learned from literature that during the MERS outbreak, both in both in South in the Middle East and also in the Korea. They all use the lopinavir, ritonavir to treat the MERS patients. This is another reason that we tried to test lopinavir, ritonavir in the treatment of the COVID-19, and we have registered the first randomized controlled trials of lopinavir, ritonavir for severe COVID-19 from the early January, and we finished the trial early March, and we published the paper in New England Journal of Medicine on March 18th. But after we have published the paper, yes, we got email from all over the world that most of the physicians think it is a negative trial, and some of them have abandoned lopinavir, ritonavir to treatment of COVID-19. But I think it is too early to stop lopinavir, ritonavir because that I believe that not every physician have fully read the whole data and the whole outcomes, because among 99 patients in the lopinavir arm, 3 of them died early without use lopinavir. So if we exclude the 3 patients out of the lopinavir arm, that is the modified intention to treat arm, we can find that the primary outcome is positive. We follow the clinical trial of severe influenza viral pneumonia. That is, we use a 7 category ordinal scale as for the evaluation of clinical outcome. It is a complex outcome evaluation system. It is not our own choice, but also from the international society. The clinical improvement was defined as at least 2 category decrease. So it is a very difficult outcome to achieve because such as the if we for the 7 categories score, for example, 7 means death, 6 means ECMO, invasive ventilation. The score 5 means the non-invasive ventilation and high flow. So you can understand that if there's 2 category decrease, we are clinicians, we can answer the question that there is a real clinical improvement. So if we use so strict clinical outcome definition, if we do analysis of the modified intent to treat population, we can find that the result is positive. That is that for lopinavir treatment patient, there's one day, there's a median of 1 day less shorter of after antiviral therapy. And when we look at the 28-day mortality, we can also find that there are some difference, although the difference is not significant. For lopinavir group, the 28 mortality is 19%, but for the standard therapy group, the mortality ratio is 25. And we also do the subgroup. We also try to analyze some kind of secondary outcomes, such as the ICU stay, such as the clinical improvement on the day 14 and the day 29. We also find that the success ratio on the day 14, we can find that for lopinavir group, the success ratio is 45%, but for standard therapy, the success ratio is only 30%. Also, there's a significant difference, and we also found that there is a less ICU stay in the patients who receive lopinavir. So if we put all the data together, we can find that it seems that lopinavir, ritonavir is beneficial, at least to some group of patients. And we also do the subgroup analysis. We divide patients who receive lopinavir within 12 days, and then those later than 12 days, we can find that patients who receive antivirals less than 12 days will have more benefits compared with those who receive antivirus later than 12 days. So this is why we make the study design of remdesivir trial. We have the definition of the inclusion criteria as that we only enroll patients within 12 days. So you may understand that the antiviral is one of the key treatment choice for patients, and I believe that antiviral should be given as early as possible. But I think you are clinicians, you are researchers. You can understand that one clinical trial cannot answer all the questions. At this time, we cannot answer the question that is whether earlier use antivirals can prevent the progression of the disease from the mild areas to the severe condition. But I think it is worthy in the clinical trial. That is that you can enroll a group of mild cases and give them the early antiviral such as lopinavir, and to use that the number of cases who develop from mild illness to the severe conditions such as severe pneumonia, ARDS, or sepsis. So and another question is that whether we should about the dosing of the lopinavir and the duration of antivirals, because we follow the same rule of the dosing and the treatment duration as SARS and MERS. But I can tell you that on the day 14 when we stop lopinavir, there are still about 40% of the patients still have the virus RNA. So I cannot give you the definite answer that whether such patient with positive RNA should use a longer antiviral treatment, such as longer than 14 days. So I have no definite answer to the question. Another choice is remdesivir. Yes, maybe you have already learned the story. The first case were published in New England Journal of Medicine, and recently the New England Medicine reported another paper of the compassionate use of remdesivir for severe COVID-19. All the data are encouraging, but we have to keep in mind that the only randomized controlled trial with placebo as control can help the clinicians to answer the question whether remdesivir is effective, whether remdesivir is safe enough to treat COVID-19, especially for severe cases. But also that the good news is that we have completed the remdesivir trial in severe cases, and you can maybe you can read the results as soon as we have published. But also at the same story of lopinavir and ritonavir, that we have not enough evidence of the remdesivir use in mild case in a very early stage, such as less than 5 days. So there's no data. But I think maybe it is one of the choice that you can try in your clinical practice, to test whether remdesivir is useful or not. There are other choices. Yes, maybe you have also known that a French research, a French group published a paper in IgA that the combination of the hydroquinone and the azithromycin. But recently there are more and more criticism to this combination therapy. And yesterday, the day before yesterday, the NIH, US NIH published their own guideline. This guideline disagreed use of this kind of combination because they are concerned about the cardiac effects, such as the prolonged QT window. But But whether the single-use hydroquinone is useful or not, I have read several clinical trials about the hydroquinone monotherapy for the treatment of COVID-19, and one report from mainland China, and the data they use the 28-day viral clearance as the primary outcome, but unfortunately the result is negative. But it seems that for those who received hydroquinone monotherapy, it seems that the inflammatory marker such as CRP can decline faster compared with standard therapy. But I think the benefit is so weak that the hydroquinone is not. I don't think hydroquinone is a good choice for the treatment of the COVID-19. In Wuhan, we also tried the convalescent plasma. Yes, maybe you are also very familiar that this kind of treatment has been used for many years, more than 100 years, as back as pandemic influenza in 1918. Yes, there are at this time there are at least two reports, one paper in JAMA and one paper in PNAS, but only a small number of cases. The first paper was published in JAMA. The authors successfully treated 5 patients with convalescent plasma. The data show that there's some clinical improvement after treatment of convalescent plasma. The second paper enrolled 10 patients. These are only case report, but it's one kind of choice that is maybe convalescent plasma for treatment of severe cases. But one including criteria is that the donor should have a high titer antibody to COVID-19. So what's your experience from Thailand? Yeah. What kind of antiviral do you use to treat COVID-19, both mild cases and severe cases? Over.
May I just pursue on the antivirals for COVID-19? As you know that there are many antivirals for COVID-19, and if we set lopinavir, ritonavir as the standard, would you compare, let's say, favipiravir has a better or lesser effect antiviral compared to lopinavir or ritonavir and other drugs?
Okay.
Could you tell us your experience on favipiravir compared to lopinavir?
Yeah, from the in vitro activity testing, it seems that the lopinavir ritonavir combination is much stronger than favipiravir. There are several clinical trials. That one trial is to compare combination of lopinavir and favipiravir versus lopinavir monotherapy, and the data show that combination therapy of favi and lopinavir is better than lopinavir monotherapy. There's also another trial compare with the favi monotherapy and lopinavir monotherapy, but the results show that there's no difference. Our group are very familiar with favi, but we have not tested favi among patients in COVID-19. We have tested favi in severe influenza viral pneumonia, and we have published a paper in Journal of Infectious Disease last year. In our clinical trial of severe influenza, we used the combination of favi and oseltamivir. The problem is that we also investigated the PK of favi among severe influenza viral pneumonia. The problem is that we have tried two doses recommended to treat influenza. One choice is 1600 milligram followed by 600. Another is a larger dose, that is 1800 followed by 800 milligram. But unfortunately, yes, after we have investigated the PK for more than 2 years during the 2017 to 2019 flu season and 2018 and 2019 flu seasons. But it seems that for the PK data is very different among severe influenza cases versus mild influenza cases. That means that for severe cases, even we use the higher dose of 5e, that is 1800 followed by 800, it seems that the dosage of 5e of the blood is much lower compared with those reported from Japan and America. I don't know exactly what the reason, but maybe there are some metabolic changes among severe cases. Maybe you can understand that for severe cases, those patients usually have some kind of impaired liver function or renal function or sepsis. This is the complicated reasons that can explain that maybe the PK of 5e in severe cases is different from the mild cases. The concern of the routine dosage of 5e in severe COVID-19, I don't think the dosage is enough for severe COVID-19. This is why that we do not recommend 5e for severe COVID-19 in China. Over.
Thank you.
To reflect your answer, what if you have a patient today, you diagnosed the patient quite early, like before 4 or 5 days of illness, mild pneumonia, but with risk factor. If this patient were in front of you, what would you choose today? What would you give?
Yeah, good question. I will give lopinavir and ritonavir.
You would give monotherapy?
Yeah, monotherapy, because you said this is a mild case. So at this time, yes, I would like to give the monotherapy of lopinavir and ritonavir.
I like to share with you our clinical guideline, which of course there is no good RCT data, but with the very limited data that we have, and we hope for the best. And of course, this is not under clinical trial, but it's like general kind of recommendation that this is the choice you may pick. And majority of the clinicians in here has been following. In my own case, but with risk factors like elderly or obese, we are providing or suggesting combination of 2 drugs, the chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine plus lopinavir. We have been discussing among the expert groups, and now we are worrying about monotherapy when you have the virus where it might progress. We like to combat them hard and early. So chloroquine and lopinavir hit in the different targets of the viral cycle. And that's why it should be very good in combination in theory. And both drugs are widely available around the country because we have a lot of patients with HIV/AIDS that has been using lopinavir. So we have a large number of the drug storage. And also chloroquine has been locally produced. We use a lot of this drug for malaria, and we don't have any problem with the supply, and it's so cheap. As you have elaborated, and it's true that short-term treatment, there is no problem with the side effects that we could have to be worried about. But for pneumonia case, then we add favipiravir. We don't have remdesivir in the country, but we do have favipiravir. And this is again not under the clinical trial, of course. We are trying to collect the data, although it's not quite systematically. We are trying to put together. We have some core elements of the data collection, but we haven't had a chance to do the total analysis. But this is comparing to you. This is quite an aggressive strategy of antiviral therapy on our side. And to share with you, we give 1,600 and 600 dose of favipiravir, and we have very good experience with it. What we found is that if we give antiviral agents, quite early, the risk of progressing to more severe cases, to more severe pneumonia, is a lot less. The very first day or two after the initiation of treatment, the chest X-ray might progress a bit, but then after 48 hours seems to reduce improve the chest X-ray and the clinical appearance. So this is what we just go ahead and give the drugs. So that's why we would like to learn from you. You give lopinavir monotherapy. We found someone who received lopinavir monotherapy but continue to progress to severe pneumonia, and that's why multiple cocktail therapy is more attractive, particularly in those with pneumonia. And this is what we do it in here and like to share with you. But perhaps you can also comment on the way that we do here. But we don't use any Chinese medicine, so perhaps that's another thing that's very different from your practice over there. I heard that you use a lot of Chinese medicine as well together, right?
So it seems to me that you don't believe the benefit of the combinations. You still go on with monotherapy. But in Thailand, our experience and according to the clinical practice guideline, we would recommend combinations. Perhaps, let's say, we start with chloroquine, and then you may add favipiravir, or chloroquine with lopinavir and ritonavir. Just like so. Do you have any reasons why you don't believe in the combination? Since so far we don't have a good clinical trial to show that each antiviral, which one is more effective than the other. So I think it's like at the beginning of COVID-19 epidemics, we try to save our patients' lives, and that's why we think we start with combination until we have a clear evidence to show that each antiviral, which one is more effective, which combination is more effective than monotherapy. So your idea about combination, you don't prefer combination to, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the sharing of the Thailand's experience with our Chinese clinicians. Yeah, I think so your choice is scientific. Yeah, I totally agree with you that maybe a combination of antivirals will be the solution, yes, to COVID-19, especially for mild cases, but with the high risk for severity of illness and those with severe conditions. Yes, I think your choice is reasonable. Yes, in China, yes, although I mentioned the monotherapy of lopinavir and ritonavir, yes, as you mentioned that we nearly almost every patient will receive the traditional Chinese medicine. So in this means that we do use the combination. So the question is that what is the dose you use of hydroquinone or what the dose of the
We use 10 milligram per kilo, 2 tablets.
Okay, thank you. So I think I do believe that the whole international society will be eager to know your experience about the combination of antivirals for COVID-19, and I'm eager, yes, to read your publications from Thailand. But a recommendation from me is that if it is possible, yes, can you have a study that with 2 arms compared with the such as monotherapy and 2 or 3 drugs combination therapy. If there's no control group, yes, it is difficult for us, yes, to draw a conclusion. Yeah, it's just a suggestion from me. Okay.
I think your comments very well, yeah. And I think in Thailand we try to have a control arm as you suggest. Otherwise, we cannot conclude which one is more effective than the others. And Professor Sanchai have a just some comments from as a clinician. I think in Thailand the clinicians believe that FAVI work very well. So to have the control trial with placebo comparing FAVI might not be possible because we think it's worked very well. That's my perception of what have been seen by the treatment.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I understand. Okay.
So
any
we can, yeah.
Any more questions? Yeah, please.
Yes, Professor Sanchai. Okay, I have a question about anti-inflammatory treatment, including steroids. How would you start steroids? Do you have any indicator or indication that you're going to start systemic steroid? And if you want to start, what is your recommended dose for steroid?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. Yes, yeah, yes. From very early beginning, yeah, clinicians in China have thought of the use of corticosteroids in COVID-19. Yeah. Maybe you have already remember that we during the SARS outbreak in China, clinicians usually use high dose corticosteroids, yes, to treat SARS patients, not only in Guangdong, in Hong Kong, but also in Beijing. Yes, because these 3 cities have the most large number of SARS patients. But as long as yes, I worked in SARS wars in the year 2003, and I also have experience of use high dose corticosteroids to SARS patients. But as soon as we do the analysis of the efficacy and safety of corticosteroids for SARS, we find that high dose corticosteroids do harm, yes, to SARS patients. So again, from the end of 2019 and early 2020, we have to think about how we can use corticosteroid for those patients. Yes, and after we have collected the evidence of the first cases use or not use corticosteroid, there's a consensus. Yes, we have published in the local journal that in this consensus, yes, we recommend that the corticosteroid should be used very cautiously, and we recommend low to moderate doses corticosteroid. This is a dosage, and the timing is very important. Yes, when we start corticosteroid. After several rounds of discussion between national experts and the local clinicians, yeah, we draw a consensus that the corticosteroid should be given on the time point. That is the rapid progression of the disease. That is such as the rapid deteriorations of the oxygen or the the rapid increase of the chest X-ray of the chest X-ray shadow on the chest X-ray, and the duration of corticosteroids should be no longer than 1 week. Another, I think, a concern of the corticosteroid is that the risk of the secondary bacteria of and fungal infection, and also such as the glucose or the hypertension side effects. But if we use low to moderate doses, the side effects of corticosteroid, it seems, is not so big. And we have just did a retrospective cohort study and to study the efficacy of corticosteroids and the side effects. So our preliminary data show that corticosteroids is no effect on the 28-day mortality, but for subgroup of patients, as I mentioned, that the progression. It seems that corticosteroid can in somewhat stop the progression of the disease from the deterioration. But it doesn't mean that the corticosteroid can rescue the life of the patient. But the good news is that for low to moderate dosage of corticosteroid, the secondary bacterial fungal infection is not significant between corticosteroid group and the control group. So what's your experience from Thailand? Over.
Right. So what's the reaction from our experts from Thailand? Anyone?
Chanchai, you use a lot of corticosteroid, or we don't use it. We don't routinely use steroid. I think we might use it if they have persistent fever or inflammation, despite the treatment with the antiviral. So right now
I think our experience do coincide with, agree with you that the use of corticosteroid should be very brief, and the timing is very important, especially in the era that we don't have effective antivirals. It's very dangerous to give the anti-inflammatory in no active antiviral inside. So this is very important.
And some cases we use tocilizumab as especially when they have a cytokine storm. So I think we have few cases that seem to respond to tocilizumab. If they have sometimes we measure the cytokines, and if they have very high IL-6 level, I think some patients receive and seem to have respond to the treatment.
So Professor Sanchai is still not quite sure that those anti-inflammatory medicine is good. It will give many beneficial to patients with COVID-19. So I think the same experience we have to share with you. Ajahn Visit, we have a question for you.
Yes, just a practical question. When the pandemic of COVID-19 is under control in Wuhan, and the majority of your hospital became to restore their routine activities, what is your practice for the pre-operative workup for ordinary surgical patients in China? Do we need to perform PCR tests in every patient who go to surgeries?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, I don't think that for every patient is under surgery need COVID-19 PCR testing. I think but we should be very cautious about the history of contact and the respiratory tract symptoms. We should be very careful, because some of the COVID-19 has only mild symptom, such as the mild cough or the fatigue or the loss of appetite. Yeah, but I think for every patient who is under surgery should take the chest X-ray or CT scan. So as soon as we have the clue on chest X-ray or CT scan, he or she need the COVID-19 PCR. I think for some large surgery, I think it is a routine, yes, for before surgery, such as the lung function testing, such as the chest X-ray. So it is the routine in Thailand.
Just develop a guideline, say, doctor visit pre-operation for which there is a very different of practice. Some hospital in the epidemic area perform all of the patients testing before surgery, but the hospital outside the epidemic center, maybe the province, there is no any case of COVID-19 that perform routine pre-operative workups.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your decision. Yes, we should differentiate those hot spot and those with no cases. Yes, you're right, I think.
This is about the case with recurrent infections. As you see, you may know that there are many, in Thailand we have 2 cases who already recovered from COVID-19 and then they develop COVID-19 again a few days or weeks later. And I saw many reports in Korea, in European countries. So I would like to, even in China as well, many recurrent cases. So what our question is, those who have recurrent infections, are they still contagious? Which means that they still spread the virus to their closest family members, and what are the clinical cause of patients with recurrent illness? Would be the clinical cause maybe more severe or milder or something else? Yes, this is something that we like to learn from you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult question, but we should be very careful if we make the diagnosis of recurrence. Because according to the animal model study, the Chinese virologists use monkey model, yes, to test whether the monkey can reinfect it with the same SARS-CoV-2. The answer is no. So I don't think recurrence is often. If we read literature, but to our knowledge, there's no scientific report of the recurrence, but we only heard the story from news report. When we look at patients suspected to have recurrence, we have to think in mind that whether this is because of the virus shedding lasting in the long term, which means that on the day of the patient was discharged with negative RNA, and after he returned home and retesting with a positive RNA, it doesn't mean they're recurring in there, but because of the second, this only means that the second testing is positive. It is common. It is common. It is because of the RNA virus shedding it can be a very long term. In our experience, the longest virus RNA is more than 2 months. So you can understand that it is not difficult to understand that for a patient on discharge negative and appear positive. Because there's most of the RNA testing is based on the throats, nasal, pharyngeal swabs or throat swabs, according to a report from Chinese doctors, there's a positive ratio of the nasopharyngeal swab for COVID-19 is only 30%. So one time is positive and the second time is negative, or first time negative, second time is positive. It's common. So in my knowledge, that reoccurrence is not so often, and we should be very careful to make the diagnosis. Over.
And it's no concern according to your experience. That right? For patient with recurrent COVID-19 is no concern. So you don't think that this is the big problem.
Yeah.
After a little bit, in China, do you develop animal models for COVID-19? You just mentioned monkey.
Yeah.
And is there any animal else? I would like to know.
Yeah, another kind of animal model is mouse model, but for mouse model, for the healthy mouse model, is not easy to develop severe illness. It's just a problem. So if you want to have the severe mouse illness model, you should use a special animal, that is the AC2 specialized mouse to develop severe illness. Over.
So far you don't have a good animal models for COVID-19 infection, right? You still don't have that.
Yeah.
One more question from Professor Kunkanya.
Yeah, I have a question. Perhaps you can share with us on how you treat the pregnant women and babies. In your setting, do you allow rooming in? Do you allow direct breastfeeding? How do you manage? How do you provide a setting if a woman comes down with COVID-19 and she is pregnant or almost going to delivery?
Yeah, sorry. I have very few experience with the treatment of pregnant women, but I know a group of Chinese scientists that have published a correspondence in New England Journal of Medicine. But in this paper, they only have the clinical manifestations. So they do not talk about the treatment of the pregnant woman. Yes, I think we should follow the same rule as we treat with the severe influenza viral pneumonia. Yes, but I don't think the early delivery is no. Sorry, at this time I have no no recommendations for you. So what's your experience? Do you think early delivery is very important for severe pregnant women with COVID-19? I have no answer. I want to learn from you. Yeah.
Well, actually, we try to learn from you because the problem in here is that we don't have that many. Okay, we have a few experience of pregnant women who come in getting to delivery or almost delivery and come down with COVID-19, and a lot of hospitals who are caring for patients with COVID-19, they have to prepare. So the problem is to prepare. You know, we have to write an SOP. What is the workflow? What if a woman come in? How are we going to, you know, arrange the place for the woman to deliver? Most of the time, we don't have the negative pressure delivery room. And how are we going to manage the babies that come out? We most of the time again don't have the neonatal nursery unit with the negative pressure room. Are we very comfortable to let the babies stay with the mother, just like the WHO recommendation, or we should follow the American guideline where they immediately separate the mother and the baby. So we haven't have a case, but we have to write a workflow and prepare for the case to come. So we are now drafting the SOP at our center. So we like to learn from you. How are you preparing this? What is your strategy? What if a woman show up? How would you do?
Yeah, I think it's also an issue from the WHO consulting committee. Tonight there will be the second round of discussion about the third version of WHO COVID-19 guideline. I will raise the question to WHO and ask if there's any recommendations for pregnancy. The WHO third version of guidance of COVID-19 will be published maybe next week or in 2 weeks. Maybe you can follow the WHO guideline of the pregnant women. Yeah, I have no answer. Yeah, at this time.
Right, and also due to the time limit, maybe we have the time for one or two, just a very few more questions. So.
One last question. Yes, may I have questions about the outcome of the patient who require ECMO treatment in your hospital? Because ECMO is something very limited in Thailand. We have one case of COVID-19 which required ECMO, and he survived. But I would like to know about the outcome from your patient, whether it's worth going to ECMO or not, and what's your idea about that?
Okay, my colleague Zhang Yi can answer the question.
Yeah.
ECMO.
I will answer this question. The recommendation of ECMO in COVID-19 is no difference between other disease called ARDS. So when oxygen is less than 100, maybe you should consider to implant the ECMO. And I think the most important point is management, not how to give the ECMO, but you need a team to charge the patients. We found there are more mortality in some teams because there are not enough staff, not enough drugs, or not enough ICU nurse to care the patient. And I think the other respiratory care is most important. Is important, such as NIP or or positive pressure ventilation is also important to when you manage the ECMO. There's no different recommendation in this patient between other cause of ARDS. That's all. I think the problem maybe there's not enough staff to manage it. Xia Jinggen, do you have any some words to say?
Thank you.
我的 comment 就是首先这个新冠肺炎这个疾病的话，不是那么特别的很清楚，因为很多机制我们不是特别的很清楚。然后呢，在中国可能大家看到很多杂志说ECMO病死率特别高，这个可能跟我们早期的一些认识不太清楚可能是有关系的，包括它插管的时机都特别的晚，所以这样的话可能就会延误了病人的病情的这样的一个治疗的这样的一个问题。然后另外一个呢，就是张一所说的，这个团队真的是非常很重要。我们有4例 ECMO 病人，然后其中3例呢，我们都是成功的 ，ECMO 都是成功的，有的病人都已经都可以出院了。 所以这个团队的管理在这个过程当中是一个非常很重要的。还有一点呢，我们从 ECMO 的那些病人当中就会发现，转过来那几个 ECMO 病人，他的上肺很明显的有肺的损伤，可能这跟之前的接通器管理的策略都是有很大的相关性。所以呢，可能由于这些原因，就会导致大家可能在有些杂志上发现 ECMO 的病死率是比较高。但如果说我们的ECMO 的时机上了 ECMO 之后，我们的管理恰当的话，其实成功率还是比较好的。
Translator, please.
So let me answer your question about the mechanism. About the usage of the ECMO. My comment on the COVID-19 is that we still don't understand many different mechanisms behind the COVID-19. So that is the reason why we see that in the early stage, the mortality ratios of the usage of the ECMO is quite high. Because in the early stage, we don't understand what is happening and we don't understand the mechanism behind it. And we did not do the intubation as early as possible. And that is create a lot of postponement of the treatment. The second thing I want to talk about is the importance of the management of the team. We believe that we have treated 4 ECMO cases. 3 of them were very successful, and even some of the patients are discharged from the hospital. We believe the management team for the ECMO equipment and for the patient is very important. The third thing I want to talk about is that for the ECMO patient, we find that some of the patients, when they are transferred to our ICUs, we find some of the patients have the upper lung injury. We believe that it is related to the improper treatment before. So I think timing plus management is very important in the usage of ECMO. And I believe that with the proper usage of ECMO, the treatment, the cure ratio would be very high. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So from the experts from Thailand, do you have more questions or do you have more comments to make?
现在我们没有问题了，多谢。
Thank you. And also for Professor Tao, for you and your colleagues, do you have more to add? 您其他的同事还有需要补充和分享的吗？您请讲。
郭主任，郭丽萍郭主任，您看咱们感控方面一些经验，能不能简单说一下？因为时间的关系，好吧？
郭主任，您先把这个音频给打开。Sorry, no, we are not done yet. We have the last our Chinese expert to share some of the measures on prevention and control of this disease. So
go on.
Okay. 您请讲。
好，thanks for your appreciation, and I'm infection control specialist as told in the slides before, just by Duan Jun, and I will tell very shortly about what I have done in Wuhan, and there is 3 topics. One is introduction of what I have done in Wuhan during past 72 days. And the second is published paper and the contents as an interviewee. And the third is transmission via fecal and prevention in hemodialysis healthcare. And the first slide is introduction what I have done. And I don't think it's experience, just I report as an infection control specialist.
Sorry, you have a slides, right, Dr. Guo?
Yes.
You have. Can we see that, or can you share that with us through Zoom?
Oh, how can I share the slides?
有一个share your slides, share your screen. 共享屏幕。
共享屏幕。
点一下
这个吗？
然后点你的那个幻灯就 OK。
可以了吗？
试一下。
可以了吗
？Yes， 好了，您请继续，我们看到了。
what I have done in Wuhan, and I am a designer and trainer for my colleagues when we went to Wuhan, and the design is about the administrative institution, and the trainer I was. What I have done is to teach my colleague how to prevent the COVID virus, and how can we protect ourselves when we health care the patients of confirmed this COVID disease. And the second, my role is a coordinator and supervisor. As you can see, when our staff went into the world of isolation, I will examine and instruct how to protect them or wear protective suits, including masks and protective clothes and isolation gown and so on. And the second, and as a supervisor, I also want to the isolation world to examine how my colleagues to protect the patients. And the third is chief secretary of TCM. Maybe there is some experience about spiritual belief. Just because this is, we have a lot of experts thought this is a new disease, and some when we confronted some enrolled realms, maybe we should have some beliefs in our spiritual. And also, I published a paper in our national magazine about practical strategies for prevention and control of nosocomial infection in COVID-19 designed hospital in Wuhan. There is three main topic is one is the institution and the regulation, and the third is about the prevention for the respiratory communicable disease, and the third is about the isolation of replacement for patients. And as an interviewee, I also ask the question from our public, when is self-isolation in-house? And the second is aerosol transmission. And I also, I learned that in Thailand, the situation has become better than before. Maybe afterwards, we will consider the recovery from pause. Maybe we can talk something about this. And the fourth is about health management for those patients who have been cured from the hospital, but they have some left functional questions in their body. And the third topics is about transmission while fecal and prevention in hemodialysis health care. And we can see this is a slide from WHO, that told us COVID is not airborne. No, this is not true. COVID is not airborne. And maybe they will answer our question about fecal disinfection. As we know, because the COVID-19 transmitted mainly through droplets and the contact of the surfaces who have been So we should protect ourselves, keep at least 1 meter distance from others, and disinfect surfaces that are touched frequently. As for fecal disinfection, that in each hospital or in each healthcare facilities, the waste by patients have already been disinfected by some chlorine or some peroxidation. So I think fecal disinfection is necessary for every hospital and for routine health care, not only for COVID-19. This is the answer for the question what have been provided before. And the second is about the hemodialysis health care, about the prevention. Maybe we can share, there is some aspects about educate patients and educate HCWS, healthcare workers. We should do something between patients and healthcare workers. This is a question of both directions, not only for patients. If the HCWS have some symptoms about respiratory communicable disease, we should ask them to have a sick leave in their house and not to attend the job. And the second is PPE. Maybe every aspect has know about personal protection equipment. So I will do much more explanation. And the triage about this question, maybe I can do some additional explanation about our experts in Thailand about before. If the patients have a symptom and have
No problem.
Have some history of epidemic, maybe we should ask him to have a PCR test and X-rays or CT scan. And the replacement is about the patients who have been confirmed or who have been diagnosed as suspected patients. They should be in single room, especially for those suspected cases, and in some very narrow spaces in the world. They should be replaced in a very remote area from the ordinary person floor. And the manipulation about some blood transmission disease and the disinfection, as I have told before, the alcohol of 75% and the chlorine compounds and the peroxidation compounds is also effective for COVID-19. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm too anxious, and so sorry for what I have not said very clearly. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Professor Guo. You have made a very clear analysis and also, analysis as well as explanation about the prevention and also the control measures to be undertaken here in China. And also, Professor Limi Rasami, I heard you have final remarks to make from Thailand, right? So please go ahead.
This is a final remark from Thailand, and it's on behalf of the Thai Medical Councils, the Ministry of Public Health, Thai Medical Schools, and also the Thai government. I would like to thank the Chinese experts, Chinese professors, all who shared the very rich information and your experience with us. Since COVID-19 is a new pandemic, a new virus, so the teleconference to share your experience is very vital for us to care our patients and also to control the COVID-19. I would like also to congratulate the Chinese government for a very successful recovery from the COVID-19 crisis in your countries, which is very fast and set an example for other countries to follow. I think you have already passed the hard times on COVID crisis, while other countries are facing them right now. So I also would like to admire many medical personnel, doctors and nurses for their relentless effort to fight against COVID-19, to take the best care for their patients, which very unfortunately, some of them succumb in, as we know. I think when we have more experience and more information on COVID-19, maybe we have a thing like this, like a teleconference to share our experience against. And I would like also to thank the Chinese Embassy in Bangkok and MCOT, Osmotor for arranging this teleconference. And I would like to say thank you very much, 多谢你啊。
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's discussion. And virus knows no boundaries, and this global challenge can only be tackled with international cooperation and also joint efforts. And hopefully the information shared and consensus reached today can help both countries to better fight the battle against COVID-19, and also the friendship, the bilateral ties will emerge even stronger after this joint fight against this pandemic. And thank you again to Professor Cao Bian and your colleagues for sharing with us, and also the professors from Thailand side for your time and for your contribution. And a big thank you to our followers for your attention and your input. And also this program will be broadcasted on MCOT in the recent days, and we'll have more live streaming to come in the following days. Thank you.
Okay.